Was Harden's performance a cause for concern?
Well, I'm going to say yes, but it's not because it's one game or anything like that. That can happen to anybody. I'm not going to overreact to, a performance that's clearly an aberration, because this is James Harden we're talking about. You're not accustomed to seeing him scoring single digits or shooting 14% from the field. We understand that. I'm just going to say that there's a reason for concern from the standpoint. It's just a reminder of how important he is to the Philadelphia 76ers aspirations this season. When you look at Tyrese Maxey, you know what to expect from him, but he's a young player, as gifted as he is, and I like seeing him as a starter, JJ and legs, more so than I like seeing him come off the bench. I think offensively he's more productive that way, but that's just my opinion. You look at Tobias Harris, the Shake Miltons, the Anthony Meltons of the world. Of course, we get Embiid's the star, Tobias Harris. We get all of that, but it all comes down to me, to James Harden. You're not beating the Boston Celtics or the Milwaukee Bucks in a playoff series if James Harden doesn't show up and gives you star caliber production. He doesn't have to be a league scoring leader like he was in Houston. But the James Harden that we've been seeing this year, damn near leading the league in assists and doing the things that he's been doing, with his productive play and his sporadic play of offensive aggression, where he might drop 30 or 35 on you in a wink of an eye before he goes back to averaging about 21 a game. The reality is that you're not beating the two monsters in the Eastern Conference. I know Philly's one of them, but you're not beating Milwaukee and you're not beating Boston without James Harden playing at least a relatively elite level, guys. I'm not talking about, again, from years ago, but a relatively star caliber elite kind of player. You need that from him in order to knock off one of those two guys.
Yeah, Stephen, I agree with most of what you said there.
Okay.
And I think it is important to note Harden's role on this team versus Harden's role in Houston. And we discussed this a bunch last year during the playoffs. What does James Harden have to be for the Philadelphia 76ers to make a deep playoff run, get to the finals, and play for a championship? Mm-hmm. And I honestly believe he has to be the player that he's been this season, the player that he was at times at the end of last season. He's leading the league in assists. He's scoring 21 a night efficiently, shooting over 38% from three. The reason he doesn't have to be James Harden in Houston is because Joel Embiid is so dominant. It's because of Tyrese Maxey. And I totally agree with what you said. Tyrese Maxey absolutely should be in the starting lineup, should stay in the starting lineup. He's a much better player. Across the board, his splits for the season, 22 a game as a starter, 15 a game off the bench. The efficiency numbers are much better. In the 11 games he started in March, since he came back to the starting lineup, shooting 52% from three. Harden needs to score 18 to 22 a game, but the facilitation on this basketball team, that's what's really important. You bring up something interesting to me, and that's for them to beat Boston, for them to beat Milwaukee, Harden has to be an approximation of what he was in Houston. And we saw that. We saw that 2.5 weeks ago at Milwaukee, one of the best games of the season. He had 38, 10, and 9, absolutely took over down the stretch. But the thing is, he doesn't need to do that every single game because there's enough of a supporting cast in Philadelphia, and Joel Embiid is clearly A1 on this team, and he has been dominant all season long.
So going last, this is great because I listened to both you guys, and I'm going to take some things that I agree with, some things I disagree with. Let's start with just the premise of the question. Am I concerned about last night? No. It's one of 82. He had a bad night. Their team collectively had a bad night. So did Chicago, actually. It's amazing they won the game because they didn't play well offensively. Mm-hmm. But so I'm not worried about last night, all right? That's going to happen at times, particularly the way he has played for the last 2 or 3 months. I think this is the best version of James Harden I have seen as a point guard since he got to Philadelphia. He seems to have found the right balance of when to be aggressive, hunt my own, and when to be that facilitator to get people involved. So I love the way he's played.
Hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports here. The 76ers lost to the Bulls last night. James Harden only had 5 points. Is there concern for the 76ers moving forward? No, absolutely not. They've been playing phenomenally well, and they have all the pieces. This is the best team for the 76ers I've seen in a long time, right? It was just one game. And the First Take panel is bringing up the playoff history of James Harden. You know, everybody has bad days, and no one's perfect. So just cut the guy some slack. He had 5 points. I think he was 2 for 18 or something like that. I can't remember the exact stat. But at the end of the day, there's no concern for James Harden and the 76ers. They're number third in the Eastern Conference, right behind the Bucks, right behind the Celtics. At the end of the day, Joel Embiid is clearly playing phenomenal, and some could say that he is the front runner for the MVP. I guess it's not a foregone conclusion that it will be Joker. Now, at the end of the day, you got to think to yourself, the 76ers have a time limit, right? They have to get this done, and I believe they will, because this team is legit. They have a very good bench, 3 offensive players, as in Maxey, Joel Embiid, and James Harden, like First Take said, but they're also not including, or also forgetting, a bunch of other players, a bunch of other role players. So at the end of the day, I think this is the best team that 76ers have. It was just one freaking game. Let me know what your thoughts and opinions are. How far will the 76ers go in the playoffs? Leave a comment in the comment section. As always, this is Jag from Jaggy Sports.